Welcome back to Seat Time. I'm Woody, and today I got a chance to come to Red River Motorcycle Trails and take the Graham Jarvis Clinic. Now you guys know Graham Jarvis, the GOAT of hard enduro and the slow wheelie. Well, he showed me that I still have no idea what I'm doing, and it's gonna be a great time walking you guys through the Graham Jarvis Clinic, and then of course, my key takeaways from the day. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and let's enjoy getting some seat time. We had a fairly large class for the Sunday clinic at Red River. For most of the day, Graham would talk us through the current drill and then showcase what it looks like. Though the front wheel hop isn't where we started the day, we progressed through techniques that compounded on top of each other. Yes, he's still going. Oh. Though I have a long way to go with this technique, the key points that helped me understand what Graham is doing is his smooth body position and how he never lets up on the rear brake. When I would suck the bike up with my arms and legs on the rebound, I would lose pressure on the rear brake. This allows the bike to roll back and not lean back properly. As for his body position, that's years of practice. Did you see it? It's the same technique we just practiced for the wheel hop. Apply the brakes, weight the bike, and on rebound lightly pull up and use the clutch to help loft the front wheel. And now Graham can showcase his wheelie skills. Now that we can get the front wheel off the ground, we can get it over obstacles. But Jarvis didn't just teach us how to go fast. He was trying to teach us how to be in control and how to set up for another potential obstacle. You can see here that Andy knew what Jarvis was looking for, where I, on the other hand, was carrying way too much speed and then got a little talking to from Jarvis. And now we ride the log lengthwise. This brings in a hip movement we learned early on in the class. It's also a key takeaway from the class that I'm gonna dive into more at the end. Almost! Nice! Nice! Woohoo! It's all in the hips! The idea here with this rock line balance drill is to learn how to control where your bike's wheels are going to go on the trail. This builds upon all the balance and bike skills we've worked on all morning. For whatever reason, I had a lot of issues with this drill. It's safe to say I need to get some flat cones and practice. Graham has some awesome advice here. So much awesome advice that I'm gonna put this segment up as a separate video. So make sure you subscribe for when that video comes out. The key point he's talking about on a taller obstacle like a tire though is making sure you place the front tire at the peak of the obstacle. You wanna tap the obstacle so you can use the rebound of the suspension to help loft the front end. From there, you can press into the bike again and blip the clutch and throttle to help drive the bike up and onto the obstacle. Jarvis goes so slow and is always in such control. It's just jaw-dropping to watch in person. Oh yes, and now we're finally in the woods.
Give it a go. Give it a go.
Give it a go. Wait till it goes on the engine, and then there comes a point you see I'm not carrying any speed over the top now. I've got the front over, and then you've got to edge it down, wait on the engine, and there comes a point you've got to commit and just lean but right back, obviously.
Now, I've dropped into this creek before, but I'll admit, I was still nervous. And it's not a Graham Jarvis Clinic without a little bit of hill climbing. Woo!
Sorry about that.
You're all good, man.
It's also not a Graham Jarvis Clinic without a few crashes. By the time we made it to Texas Stadium, my mind and body were in watch mode. Graham, on the other hand, never seems to run out of energy or line choices. This creek we were playing in would be my downfall. I didn't catch it on camera, but I launched my Sherco sky high, and upon re-entering the Earth's atmosphere, the throttle housing smashed into a large rock, ending my day. Graham Jarvis, though, he's still motoring along, showcasing how important body position and clutch and throttle control are over speed. I hope you guys enjoyed a look at the day with Graham Jarvis at his clinic. Now I want to talk about the 3 biggest takeaways that I'm starting to work on now that I've taken the clinic. The first one is how much more he uses the rear brake to control the compression of the bike when he's trying to get that front end so he can maneuver that motorcycle around. For the longest time, as I was trying to compress the front end, it was all front brake, right? I'm up on the balls of my feet, compressing here, then trying to be able to control with the throttle, where when he showed us how much more we can use the rear brake to still push the bike into the ground to get that rebound, has completely changed that for me. So I think that's one thing that we should all be practicing, is all front brake, all rear brake, and then a combination of the two. Where it's helped me the most so far is just trying to loft the front end while staying still. And let me show you guys that, because as I'm trying to do clutch and throttle, if I'm also trying to control that front brake, it's very hard to do all of that with my right hand. But if I bring my rear brake into it with this right foot, changes the game. So let's see if I can not screw this up for you guys. Maybe the bike will start. Still not good, going good, is it? And here we go. Okay. Bike's in gear. So again, compressing there, right? No front brake. So way easier for me to get the front end up. So that's what I'm trying to figure out, right? I'm not gonna tell you that I'm the pivot turn master by any means, but what this is helping me realize is how much more I can bring this rear brake into it to help me get that front end up. Now let me show you guys the tire really quick, and we'll talk about takeaway number 2. So that's how easy that was for me to use that rear brake to get that bike to start to compress into the suspension. As it starts to rebound, I'm able to use that clutch and throttle to get it up. By no means am I Rich Larson, the IRC tire guy, but it's pretty cool to be able to start to use that. So a little change of position for takeaway number 2. Again, I'm not Graham Jarvis. I'm not gonna try to stand here and balance for you guys. So yes, I'm using the tire. Get over it. The big part for me was with the hips. For the longest time, I obviously knew to use my hips to shift, right? I would kind of bring them out to the side, bring them out to the side to shift my weight. one of the key takeaways that I got from him was that we need to actually rotate our body. So what I was doing is more of this side to side thing, where what he was showing us is much more of a pendulum. So if you think about that pendulum factor, where you can get your hips to move like this around the bike, that's what we're looking for. And why? What does that do? That helps get our hips twisted. And when we twist our hips like that, we can kick our hips out more, so we can get further back and out. Again, so more to this side where I feel a little bit safer, sticking my butt out really far. Well, where does this come into play? Anytime you're trying to balance, when you go back to watching me on the log where we were riding across it, that was a huge part of it, was being able to pendulum those hips ever so slightly as the bike needed to kind of stand upright and teeter on that. Takeaway number 3 has completely to do with the clutch. One of the things that I just kind of always got stuck on was the clutch being this on-off button, and it's very much not. What he was talking about is all these micro millimeter adjustments that we need to be able to make with the clutch. One of the places that I heard it the most, that I'm just dumping the clutch and pulling it back in, was when we would practice being stuck on a hill and trying to very lightly adjust the clutch and the throttle, right, to get traction. Where if you just start dumping that clutch, what's gonna happen? The wheel spins, you get no traction, you go all over the place. So I think what we need to do, that we did in a very cool spot, was we got on an incline. And it was a good way to practice all of the techniques that we had. So pushing into the bike, making sure that we pull up, a little bit of clutch and throttle to get that front end up. But once we had that front end up, it was this practice of trying to use the clutch and throttle to keep that front end lofted. And to do that, you have to be very controlled between the clutch and the throttle. So that is one thing that I think you guys should realize, is that though, sure, you know, my clutch is, I'm pulled in on my clutch, and here I'm not. The thing is that there's this whole spectrum going on that we need to learn how to play with and then control with the throttle beyond that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me for the Graham Jarvis Clinic. If you've been and you have some takeaways from it, obviously use the comments. Let's talk about this kind of stuff. If you have any advice for me, I'd love to hear it. I'm gonna continue to play with these things. Go back and watch all the video from the day, because I know that there's gonna be more takeaways that I'm gonna be able to leverage to practice on this technique work. And you gotta remember, this is great stuff for a warm-up. So the 5-10 minutes while maybe your buddy's still getting his riding gear on, or you got there early, this is the stuff to practice, right? Using that rear brake, a little bit more with the clutch, and just playing around with the body position like we were doing with our hips. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoy getting some seat time. And of course, if we don't get a chance to see you on the trail, we'll at least be able to see you on the internet. Stay stoked on 2 wheels, and we'll see you for the next one. Peace. My front end went all the way over it. The tire moved. That was awesome. The tire got pushed because of me hitting it, and then I just didn't have the momentum or, of course, the testicular fortitude to keep up with it. But here we are. All the way over it.